Okay, we're about to start the big race of the day, which is a 2-hour GT3 and GT4 race, and apparently it's the championship decider, so it's going to be
number 31 Team Parker Racing Mercedes has 15 seconds to spend in the pit lane.
a good race, I believe. They're just doing formation laps under the safety car. These things are loud. I mean loud. So I'm going to get the first lap, watching them go into Paddock, and then round Druids. And then I'm going to walk around the whole circuit facing the traffic, so we see as much of the action as possible. There's a couple of bits where you have to leave the circuit and walk through the woods, but we'll basically walk the whole circuit. Then I might have a little lie down.
The grid, so the clock has already started to tick when they came over the start-finish line for the second of their formation laps. And we will await the arrival of the cars, which are just threading their way through Stirlings at the moment and onto the straight that will bring them up towards Clearways corner. And then the Battle of Brands will fully be underway, our final race of the 2024 British GT Championship season. The Lotus Emira safety car, yellow car at the front of the queue, is about to peel its way in towards the pit lane. We've heard from so many drivers that the first 2 or 3 corners it all bunches up. Let's hope that they stay clean. There's a bit of a gap as expected between the GT3 and the GT4 cars, but we're about to get the race underway, and in 2 hours time we'll know who our champions will be in the British GT Championship for 2024. Josh Cahill and Morgan Tilbrook on the front row of the grid. The lights go out and they head up towards Paddock Bend for the first time. Josh Cahill will have his nose ahead, and is Alex Martin going to go through into second and ahead of Morgan Tilbrook? Yes, he does. But his contact further back, and I'm afraid into the gravel trap has gone Kevin Sheene with the 2Cs Motorsport Mercedes, and he will be going.
So someone went off through it at Paddock Hill. There's debris all over the track.
McLaren's inside the top 4 at the moment. The championship leading car in 5th position. Richard Geary completes the top 6 laps.
When they talk about GT3 and GT4, there are 2 classes. They race together, but they have separate championships. GT3 is more powerful and therefore theoretically faster than the GT4s. I'm not sure what that is. Bits of a car. So someone's carrying some damage.
What's that, 6.5 points from Charles Dawson and Seb Morris.
And a word here for the marshals.
Safety car comes out.
Oh,
Very
safety car.
Into
Okay.
this race because of that stricken car, the 2Cs Motorsport Mercedes sitting there in the pit lane, and that will mean that again it's going to take a lap or 2 to get that car out of harm's way. And we have got a puncture on somebody as well, and the reason I say that is because it's the DTO Motorsport Ginetta. It has lost the whole tyre by the look of things. The sidewalls are still there, but the main part of the tyre has all disappeared in towards the gravel trap up at Sheene kerb, and I can see what the problems were for Mark Warren's Aston Martin. It was damaged to the front right hand corner, and I'm not sure.
That one goes
there's 100 possibly, Mark. Oh, yeah.
And a word for the marshals,
the left tyre come off with
the ladies and gentlemen in orange,
the rim left on that one.
who are all volunteers, as Roy told us earlier,
And if that's quick, they should
basically
be able to get back out onto the lead lap.
help ensure the safety
Let's have a quick look at the replay.
as far as it can be.
From my perspective, I'll just wait until I can understand what happened in GT4. I think, yeah, Mark Ratcliffe was right up on the curbs and Kevin C sort of turned into him in reality, but it was the front of Mark Ratcliffe's car that hit the back of Kevin C's, there's no doubt about that. But where could Mark Ratcliffe go? He was already on the curbs, he was already slightly alongside and not a great deal he could do. But what happened in GT4, just trying to pick out exactly what happened to Mark Warren's car, can't quite see from the replay exactly what happened. And a better option to see from here. Druids. It's Constantina effect by the look of things. Yes, the car ahead all braked, and Collins had got on the brakes. The Ginette, I think, picked up the puncture at that point, and Mark Warren got into the back of one of the Academy Motorsport Ford Mustangs. So there'll be damage potentially to the left rear of one of the Ford Mustangs. I'll try and keep an eye on that just over start finish line. Now, to which one of the Mustangs?
I'm just going to go back up here and watch the restart, because what will happen is
yes, it has. Yeah, there's some damage.
it will be a repeat of the start of the race where the safety car goes into the pit lane and they will all start racing again. So we should get a repeat of the first Paddock, Bed and Druids from this angle. Second quickest is Mark Lemmers, Barwell Motorsport, Alex Martin driven, number 78 Lamborghini. Safety car is going to be in at the end of this lap. Richard Neary was so keen to try and build some brake and tyre temperature into that car that he almost locked the brakes as he was trying to build the temps. There was a slight concern of brake temperature going from 0 up to sort of 700 degrees to try and get the things working, and that car did have a brake disc explode on the very final lap at Donington Park, but it's in the hands of Sam Neary for a win in the British GT round customization. So we're about to get the race back underway. Josh Cahill leading, and as he gets his foot back down again, doesn't look as though it's a bad restart from Alex Martin at the wheel of the second place Barwell Motorsport Lamborghini Huracan. Morgan Tilbrook there in third place, Mark Ratcliffe in fourth place, it's going to be Ron Collard in fifth, and in sixth place Richard Neary coming under pressure from Simon Orange, who we heard from on the grid. Good to see Simon back in the championship. He's had some very long incidents in the last couple of years. So that's a clean getaway for everybody.
That's the car that had the damage to the left rear of it, calling its assault from the Aston Martin and Mark Warren. That's something that might be able to give us more information. Yes, there's no damage on the left one.
They have a quite complex system of pit stops, because each car has two drivers. One tends to be a pro and the other tends to be an amateur, what they call a silver driver. And the ones with the pro and the silver have to take slightly longer pit stops than the ones with a pro and an amateur.
The Canadian driver and Eric Evans, the American, who will take over it, not the start.
But both drivers have to take a stint. good crowd here today.
And the Ginetta of Aston Miller is under investigation. Those were the two cars that came together and then created that concertina effect, which ultimately caused damage to the Ford Mustang from Academy Motorsport, damage to Mark Lawrence's car and the puncture also to that Ginetta as well. So there's a range of problems for these cars. The battle for the lead of GT4 as intense as ever as they turn their way out of Sheene curb up towards Stirling. It's still Jamie Day from Callum Davis, from Zach Meakin, Aston Martin from McLaren and McLaren as they head down the straight towards the braking area.
Appreciate the speed of them until you watch them coming up with a hill and breaking into Druids, the hairpin at the top of the hill.
Through went to the third place McLaren, the Garage 59 machine in the hands of Morgan Tilsdale, 1 minute 26.
And part of the essence of top level motorsport is that if you're doing it right, it doesn't look that exciting, because if you're doing it right, you're not sliding around and crashing.
Championship to Robert Ricky Collard, I think, such as the map. 5-2-1. Good lap.
But believe me, inside that car, it's bucking around. Jolting. Because if you're doing it right, you're just on the limit of traction. Just on the limit of the tyres gripping the road. And if you go over that limit, you're getting it wrong, because then the car will slide.
There's a big slide for the Academy Motorsport 4 coming out of Druids.
And if you're going, if you're going sideways, you're not going forwards. And the fastest way to go is forwards.
Will not be scoring championship points this weekend. Of Alex Martin's number 78 car from the way things stand. Also, number 67, Simon Origin mentioned again, they're not scoring championship points.
I'm going to leave it until I can hear myself think, before I have a mild rant. People that say that motorsport's easy. Yeah, so people who say, oh, they're just driving round and round, have no idea what they're talking about. I'll tell you why in a minute.
number 95 for Baron Archer in the hands of Callum Davies, up towards Paddock Hill Bend, onto the brakes, in towards the right hand.
We're going to disappear behind the grandstand and be out of sight of the track shortly for a few minutes, and I will take that opportunity and just caught a shot of the cars coming over the brow here into Paddock.
Driving standards flag now is Jamie Day and still in pressure.
So,
going on between the two Mercedes in GT4.
Rant alert.
Change of position.
Rant incoming. Motorsport fans, you might want to skip ahead to the next chapter because you don't need telling this. This is for people who say, oh, motorsport's boring, they're just driving round and round. Okay. They are just driving round and round, but I would take the word just out of that sentence, because what they're doing is they are driving round the circuit on the limit of traction all the time. You know how you feel in your car if you take a corner too fast or slam the brakes on too fast and the tyres squeal. The tyres squeal because you've gone over the limit of traction and they're no longer gripping the road, they're sliding across the road, which means you're no longer in control of the car. And what drivers at this level of motorsport do, well at any level really, is they have to drive the entire race on that limit of traction. So every corner you have to be just at that point where the tyres are about to squeal. And it's not the same for every corner, every lap, because what happens is that the car gets lighter as you use up the fuel, so the tyres can grip more. The tyres wear every lap you do, so they grip less, and the track is changing because the amount of rubber that is being left on it by all the cars going around it has an effect on the amount of grip. And the trick of being a racing driver is to be able to feel all those differences and know exactly how fast you can push it at any point during the race, and that continually changes. It's also physically incredibly tiring. I'm going to stop and get a coffee and then I'll continue my rant. So where was I? Oh yeah, ranting. I got the coffee. I did not have the triple chocolate vegan cake. I did not have the waffle with real dairy ice cream and strawberry and chocolate sauce. I've got a sort of health bar thing in my pocket. They're a bit of virtue signaling. So yeah, this is also incredibly tiring and you have to be really fit to do this. I've never done a proper racing driver thing except for doing the Silverton experience, the Aston Martin experience at Silverstone, where you get an afternoon with an instructor and a race-tuned Aston Martin, similar to what they're driving here, and the instructor takes you round and you realise how good they are because they make it dance. It's beautiful what they do, and then you have to drive, and they're basically coaching you on how to go around the corners quickly. And you get 2 10-minute stints of driving, which you think, oh, that's a bit mean, but to be honest with you, you'd have to be really fit to do more than that. By the end of my second 10-minute drive, I was utterly shattered, but it was brilliant because I did get it to the point of the limit of traction and had the tyres squealing as I went round the corners. It's fantastic. Anyway, so this is not just driving round and round, this is exercising enormous skill and judgment and talent, and there definitely is that extra element to it of talent. You can learn the techniques, you can be technically good, but a truly talented driver has that little extra something. Oh, and also you're thinking about tactics. You're thinking about, if I really go too hard in the first bit of the race, my tyres are going to go off and I'll lose grip before my competitors. So there's a balance in all things. So now we know the current leader of the race is car number 2. So let's see if we can pick it up and get an idea of where we are. Before he comes round again.
Cheers, mate. Actually,
means that the car that is second overall, number 78 mile on
If you go back to the bad old days of motorsport in the 50s, before that, all these fences were not there. People could stand really close to the track. safety in motorsport was gradually improved. It's never going to be completely safe. And sadly here last year a marshal was killed. The amount of energy that is unleashed when one of these leaves the track, you would not want to be in the way of it. That's a huge amount of weight travelling at a great speed to meet soft human flesh. It's not going to end well. But safety, as I say, has been hugely improved. In a minute. Yeah, and another thing, the movies never show the reality of motor racing.
Yesterday, very early on, because they just keep having turn number 3 in the
they do in the movies where the two drivers are side by side on the straight and the camera cuts to the feet of one of them and he presses the accelerator pedal and goes past the other car. Is frankly, if you'll excuse the expression, unspeakable bollocks. Because if you were both on a straight, you are both at maximum acceleration anyway. You've both got your feet down as far as they will go. You're at full throttle. You don't have any spare capacity. You can't go any faster. Overtaking happens when either the driver in front of you makes a mistake and loses momentum, or if you brake later into a corner than your rival, keep it on the road, you can overtake. And there's a very specific set of rules about having to be alongside somebody in order to cut inside them at a corner. You basically have to be alongside them. If you're behind them, you can't just dive down the inside and push them off the road. And that takes skill, nerve and judgment. Okay, I'm going to stop shouting into this thing until we get round the corner into the woods. So race leader is now coming up behind the slower cars, and he has to negotiate his way past them. The marshals wave a blue flag at the slower cars, and they are obliged to get out of the way of the faster car behind them. So my friend Roy, who we met this morning, is responsible for telling marshals at any given point on the track they have to show the blue flag to car number so and so. So if you are shown the blue flag, I think the rule in Formula 1 is you have 3 marshal stations to get out of the way. Simple matter of just lifting your foot off the accelerator very slightly on a straight bit of track and letting the other car by. Right, we've got to go over the bridge and then we're in the woods. Remember I talked earlier about how this track is deemed no longer suitable for Formula 1 racing. We're about to see why. So far we've had plenty of good places to walk where you've got clear views of the track and good facilities. Now cast yourself back to the 60s and the 70s. Thank you. Thank you. This is pretty much as close as you can get on this circuit. Okay, we now have to dive through the woods. As we said earlier, this circuit is nestled in the ridge of chalk hills that runs east to west through Kent. It's not unreasonable to argue that if it were not for this circuit being here, this bit of the woods, like so many other bits of the North Downs, would have been chewed up and developed, I believe is the word, otherwise known as, had houses built all over it, or industrial estates, or shopping malls, sorry, retail destinations. I would imagine if you're a rabbit or a fox living here, you'd sort of got used to the noise by now. Okay, let's watch the cars coming around this corner. Another favourite spot for the photographers. Trying to aim my GoPro through the gap thoughtfully provided for the photographers. Bucking and jolting as they come round here. We're now 45 minutes into a 2-hour race. You imagine what it's like for the driver to put up with an hour. Formula One drivers stick it out for 1 hour 45 minutes. Drivers that do the endurance race, like the Nürburgring 24-hour that I visited in June, do it for 3 or 4 hour stints. It's hugely demanding. It's hugely tiring. I would imagine it's a huge adrenaline burst. clearly not anymore, so we can go up through there. It may get muddy and I haven't really got my Timberlands on. I've got a somewhat lesser walking boot, but I'll survive with a bit of hopping and judicious leaping. I can smell the burnt rubber and the exhaust fumes, because one leg of the track is over there, one leg of the track is over there, so each side of me is the track. This may give me reason to doubt the wisdom of my choice. However, I've got long trousers on. See if we can make it through the brambles over to there. Yes, you can see why Bernie Eccleston deemed this inappropriate for his new shiny happy world of shiny happy people coming to watch the motor racing. It's somewhat suboptimal. What I should have done is cut myself a stick, but broken the back of it without breaking our own back. Oh. Please don't let that last little bit be a swamp. No, I think it's alright. Okay. Battery's running down, but that's alright. Yeah, maybe. Good. Up the hill and out. They do off-road and rally driving tuition here. This looks like part of the training ground for that. You can see people over there. Hopefully this track doesn't lead us back into the swamp. No, yes. There's a swamp there, and there's people over there. Right, I keep heading that away. Oh. Fly in the ointment is that there's a fence between me and that path. But it may be inelegant, but I think I can get through it. I'm going to assume it's not electrified. It is indeed not electrified. This may not be elegant, but oh god, there we are. Yeah, easy, there we go. So this should take me back onto the circus, it says here. Betting I'll be turning around and coming back along this bit again in a minute. I think I may well be. And all that was for naught. Right. The bit of the circuit I want to be at. I think I'm going the right way. I think. Yes, Sheene, Kerb and Dingledale. Perfect. Sorry.
Yeah.
I can see it now.
Way back to the south bank, yeah. So,
And then you did off.
most of the corners on this circuit are named after racing car drivers, but we're going to Sheene Curve, which was named after Barry Sheene, the well-known English motorbike racer. Hello, there's double wave yellow, there's yellow flags here, and is that a safety car board? That suggests a mishap of some kind, which is why they're going slow and it's gone quiet. So there's either been a coming together or a falling off.
Yeah.
The marshals do an amazing job. And they're all volunteers. Can't see a safety car board out, so I guess this is just double waved yellows. And when you see double wave yellows or single wave yellows, you have to slow down. No overtaking, and you have to slow right down. It usually means there are marshals on the track, medical personnel perhaps, debris, a car blocking the track. Can be any number of things. Oh, there we go, here comes the rescue vehicle. So we can see, oh god,
Very slow these days. Half the races Donington to
yeah, I can see emergency vehicles down there. That's the corner we just left. Look at the acorns in this tree. They're awful quiet. When they're just pootling along, they're very, very quiet. This is a fun corner. Okay, 10% battery left. So I hope no one's injured in whatever's gone on down there, but they should have it cleared shortly. Strategy. GoPro turn off. GoPro turn off. GoPro power off. GoPro turn off. So this is a full course yellow, which basically means that everybody has to slow down by the same amount. By a McLaren just piling into the barriers down at Stirling corner. Okay, my battery is pretty much nearly gone now. We're going to see here a graphic illustration of one of the features of this circuit, which is the huge elevation changes. Means we're going to have to walk down this side of this hill and then walk up the other side of the next hill. The debris on the track there looks like a piece of shredded tyre. So the marshals have to help get the car out of the tyre wall to start with, then they have to rebuild the tyre wall.
Driving over.
So you can see why Bernie Eccleston didn't approve this circuit for ongoing Grand Prix races. But I like it. And after the extremely negative spectator experience that is the Nürburgring Nordschleife, I like the homeliness of Brands Hatch. The time it took me to walk from the car park in the Nürburgring up to the main straight, I've walked the entire circuit of Brands Hatch. Look at the woods, look at the lovely woods. Stop, do up my shoelace, change the battery and wait for the cars to get back up to racing speed for this part of the track. Oh look, a conveniently placed log for me to sit on. Because there sure as hell ain't no chairs or grandstands. Oh, maybe I won't sit on that bramble. Let's see what's up the road. No, only a waste bin. Top of the hill. I've got 2 full batteries, which will be enough to get me around the rest of the circuit. There's no sign of this going away just yet. Okay. You wouldn't believe it was late September, nearly October, would you? It's the same green as early spring in there. That car had its front redesigned. Been in the walls somewhere. It's supposed to be a non-contact sport, but the drivers have a saying, if it ain't rubbing, it ain't racing. And there's definitely a bit of door bumping and bumper bumping that goes on in the heat of the moment. This is one of the more challenging corners on the course. If you get this wrong, it just spits you out straight into the gravel. The orange markers on the barriers are where there is a gap in the barrier that you could walk through and get away from the track if you had just binned your car in the gravel and did not want to be in the way of all the other cars that are hurtling around this corner, any of whom could equally likely be as likely to bin their cars with you in the way. You would head for your nearest. Oh, they have put a safety car out, okay. Right, that means they're about to get going again, so I'm going to change batteries. So when that marshal sign changes, the safety car light will go off and it'll put the flag away and we'll be back to full racing speed. They've already started to crank it up a little. Okay, I'm going to do my shoelace. Excuse the camera pointing at the sky for the minute. Okay, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's also no commentary around this part of the track. There's no PA system. So you're on your own.
He was a Bentley factory driver for a year until
far as I'm aware, the reason they brought the safety car out is that it enables them to get back up to speed, not full racing speed, but enough to get the tyres warm again, so that when they get going they're not on completely cold tyres.
was very successful in racing when he began, so a great lineage.
Safety car does is bunch them all up, so if you had a 20-second lead under the safety car, you have no seconds lead, because the cars behind you will catch up, and they're allowed to catch up to you but not to pass you. So all that hard work you did to build a 20-second lead, you've got to do it all over again. So on the restart you have to make a judgment as to exactly how warm your tyres are, how much grip there is left on the circuit. Okay, stop waving the flags.
So long, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I guess they've got to let them get the tyres back up to some kind of temperature, haven't they?
You'd thought that'd be driver's skill, right?
Yeah, but under the VSC they can't go that fast. But the safety cars, they've just picked up the pace a bit, which allows them to...
Whatever happened to drivers warming their tyres up themselves?
The skill is in the driver.
You're too young to be old school.
Hey. If IMSA can do it, anyone else can do it.
If what?
If they can do it in the IMSA series in America, sports cars, they don't have tyre warmers.
No, and these guys don't have. They've been weaving around behind the safety car.
They have all the tyre warmers and the heaters.
They've got the heaters in the pits.
Yeah, but then when they came out again,
Yeah, they go cold, yeah.
they were still under virtual safety car, so they went cold. So now they've been weaving around.
Get going and warm them up yourselves.
They're only kids, man. Some of them are bloody 16 years old. Old and you get an international license to drive one of these, but you can't drive on the road in a Ford Focus.
I know, madness.
Amazing, isn't it? Still,
It hasn't always been like that.
I'm sure it hasn't. No.
You used to have to be driving age.
Yeah.
And hold a full licence before you could go racing.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's all financed by Dad, isn't it? You know, they go karting.
Hey, we're green.
There we go. We got a green go. We go. So next time they come around, we'll be at racing speed.
The 62 Mustang has had somebody touched him up the rear because he's got half his left-hand side front.
I think I'm McLaren that went off.
No, it was fine when he came through up at Sheene. This is since all the pit stops and what have you, since he's been out. Somebody's tagged him.
You can hear in the background they're back up to racing speed. Watch them come around this corner. They use the curb on this side to help them round. They hook their right wheels just this side of that curb, and it kind of helps keep the car in. The accuracy of their placement is extraordinary.
Disintegrated. That's it there, little white bits.
Watch the right side wheels on the car as they come round. Stunningly skillful. Yeah, so you're really on your own out here. No PA, no grandstand, no TV timing screens, nothing. No coffee stalls, sandwich stalls, bacon rolls. This is for old school motor racing fans. There's a wrinkle to be considered here. I think most of them went into the pits under the safety car because it reduces the amount of time you lose by doing a pit stop. And for most of the teams that would have meant the pro driver or the AM driver, if they did the first stint, swapping over with the other driver. So if you've got, if your pro driver did the first stint, then built up a 20-second, 30-second lead, you went into the pits and switched to your AM driver, you would have lost your lead and not had your strongest driver in the car to rebuild it. Hello, we've got a yellow flag again. And another safety car. I just watched a bunch of cars go into this corner that we just left with a significant degree of bumping and boring going on. And I'm wondering if they came to grief there or elsewhere on the circuit. I'm trying to pick up the YouTube stream, but this is so old school out here that I don't even have 5G. But there was certainly a considerable amount of...
When you get hit up the
oh yeah,
it isn't your fault normally. Let's get another look and then we go. All drivers looking okay. Cowley out much, looking at the rear of his car as well. He got hit, I think, by a fourth car that escaped all this melee. And then Jones still in the car. You can see it moving, so all drivers okay. Let's get ready for this is exactly what I was full course yellow, says the race director. Okay, have a look at the Mustang number 62. It all kicks off the line. Keep an eye on number 12 in that Cowley. Yeah, see Gordy Much in the middle at the moment. You just see him coming there. Cowley looks to the inside on Much. I think the contact happens early. He just misjudges the length of that car. He hits the back of Much, who actually hits Nickel Jones as well as Cowley. This is honestly not nice, putting blame at people's foot there. But think there. I don't see what Matt Nicol-Jones did wrong. Gordy Much was fully innocent in that part. Easily done. When you're looking to make the move, it has to be a last-minute dart there because you're not on the brakes for much more than 50 or 60 metres, and he's thrown it to the inside, just miscalculated the length of that Mercedes. Easily done. It's a long bonnet, but then the domino effect was wild from there. One small mistake has wiped out 3 cars.
In fairness to Matt Cowley, he doesn't often do things like that. That's why he was the GT4 champion last year, but I'm afraid Gordy Much out.
Yeah, it was elsewhere on the circuit.
Jones out. A Matt finish, I suspect, with 2 Matts out of the race, but sad to say, with 3 cars to be retrieved, it is going to be a long full course yellow period, so minimal racing laps at the end, all of which is great news for Alex Buncombe. It's kind of good news for Ricky Collard as well, because fewer racing laps mean fewer dramas up the road that could trip them up for a championship, but we want to see racing. Once the cars are out of the way, we can assess the barrier damage, but I think you're right, it didn't look as though they went in that hard, because a lot of the energy had been dissipated while they were tripping over each other.
Yeah, I see why Peter's saying it's a long one, but there is gaps just out of shot to our left where they can actually just drag these cars out of the way. We don't need to get them into the pits. Adhesive surface in the gravel that might start to struggle to be pulled, but yeah, hopefully MSV
one is fighting for the race lead and another is fighting to win the championship, and that incident is going to be looked at post-race, but yeah, it's hard to say anybody other than Matt Cowley just made a slight error with serious consequences for the other 2 cars. Just looking at the championship, does that 78 Lamborghini need to win? It needs Collard to lose 2 places. It needs Gamble behind and Tom Will in the Aston we were talking about to get past to 6th in the points. But this one can go in the lead, not scoring points at the moment. Mitchell didn't score any more points than this. He is getting all 37.5 points, so he can do no more at the moment. He needs Collard to lose 2 places. That still the pros in, I think not. 5 points in it, it's close, isn't it? It is indeed, and you're right, Sandy Mitchell, Alex Martin, they've done everything that can be asked of them. Even if they get ahead of that McLaren, it makes no difference because the McLaren ain't scoring points, so it's going to be 5 between them. And Barwell Motorsport has done such a good job in British GT this year, dovetailing this campaign with GT World Challenge Europe as well. So its fleet of 3 Lamborghinis have been well used and very busy over the course of the season. Sandy Mitchell won the championship in 2020 with Rob Collard, and here they are as rivals now, still in the same stable, but different driving partnerships for this year. Going back to Ricky Collard's point, it would be a shame if you weren't on A grid in the future. Saw him driving for an Aston Martin squad in the GT World Challenge Europe a few years ago, back in 2019, when he was a race winner at the Nürburgring. Of course, he came out of single-seater racing, was a Formula 4 rival of Lando Norris's, and go back, 2 seasons, it was here as a touring car driver at the end of the year. He said, no, that's it, I'm retiring. Oh, that's a great shame, everyone, he said, and Ricky came back the year after, and won on the road here at the winter.
So it's an interesting bit of psychology going on between the number 2 car and the 78 car right behind him in second place. The second place car is right up on his bumper. He's not allowed to pass him, but he's allowed to get that close to him, and he's basically saying, I'm ready for when we restart. You make a single error and I will have you.
But yeah, that car will just be trying to get out of the way. The marshal's already got a tow rope attached to it, so I think they're going to just give it a big old yoink. The 62's actually made it back, but that car's had a lot of contact today, almost. I think everyone, not its fault as well. So
right, we have to leave the circuit once again.
The last race of the year in British GT.
Dive into the woods, and it's probably going to be slippery. I'll try not to slip, but if the camera suddenly does something
Great to have Lotus back in utility as well.
unexpected, it will be because I've slipped.
Just the purple flashing in the back is just an ID light, by the way. It's normally used in Smart 24-hour races, so the teams can see which is their car going down pit lane or past them. Look at the amount of recovery trucks. Played to Jonathan Palmer and the owner of Hemisphere has really invested there. 9 minutes remaining. I would say hopefully we can be going to safety car, maybe with 20 minutes remaining, looking to go green with 15 or so minutes, which would be there. Just my question to you now, Ricky Collard, lovely guy, would be much quicker if he walked around with aviators on and a set of leads like all the drivers do. But yeah, he's a real character, and that should be celebrated for sure, and he's done a mega job this year. But if you are Ricky now with Tom Gamble behind you, you can lose that one place to Tom Gamble and still win the championship. But if you lose another one to Tom winning the Aston, you don't. Do you defend straight away or do you let it go? You know Ricky well as a character from everything you've done. Where do you think his head is at right now?
I think he'll attack. I think he's that sort of a racer because he doesn't have any traffic in between him and Tom Gamble. And I think given what his father was doing in the first stint, I think Ricky will go on the attack. He'll try and, even if he can't gain any further paces, by trying to get up with Sam Neary, he'll try and stretch the gap. So I think he'll push. I don't think Ricky is the kind of character to open the door and say after you, Claude. He'll be on the attack. He'll try and get away, and if he can gain another place to be on the safe side, then he will. But gaining that place has got to be done in a safe, non-desperate way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so if Paul Gamble gets near him, he's not going to let him go. But the interesting bit, when you look behind Gamble's fastest lap of the race, 4/10 of a second quicker than Goddard. Wood behind has got the fastest lap of the race. We missed that in the melee. I think he must have just popped that in before shows. And Aston Martin's done the fastest lap of the race. So we said how impressed we are with Tom Wood, and he's backed up our views too there. 24.0, so very, very quick lap time by Tom Wood. So there is Goddard. Gamble in that one. Then behind him there. Interesting, I think Paddock car all the way up to full course yellow like he did under Cahill. So maybe that was a strategy from Josh Cahill, looking to do a shorter distance under full course yellow. Maybe that's something he's learned how.
So up the other side.
Auto sports, but interesting to actually find out there because it's a nice little life hack.
I think they use this bit as a rally driving training course. That's looking level straight ahead. That's down the hill.
Resigned actually at the moment. So what's going on here? Full course yellow safety cars happening for you at the wrong moment.
Yeah, I mean, full course yellow, I think that effectively made our teammates time penalty from a 20-second to a 5-second loss, you know. But that's just the way the cookie crumbles, as they say.
And I think they're about to
restart likely under a safety car as well, so everyone's going to constantly back up.
go back to safety car.
Ricky, and he's going to go for it surely.
Yeah,
They've got about half an hour's racing left.
Really fast on the straights. I mean, I was doing everything I could to hang on to the car in front of me, and I felt like I was out braking him. And
They've got about half an hour left. Just under half an hour. That gives me time to get back to the van. Which means going across this bridge. And I'm pretty sure I could see them building up to that incident. I'll look back at the footage when I edit this, and if I've got it on camera I'll show you what I mean. But that group of cars was going into Hawthorn Corner, bumping and boring. And from what I could hear from the YouTube stream, I don't know if you caught it, but the commentators reckon, watching the replay, that it was a misjudgment by a Mercedes driver. And if you look at the Mercedes, they've got really long bonnet, and he basically just touched the car in front of him. And having understood that the very definition of racing these things is that you're driving on the limit of traction, you only need a tiny little push to push you over the limit of traction, which basically means you lose grip and thus control of the car, and thus where you were supposed to go around a corner you go straight on. So they're still under virtual safety car. Safety car will come out and pick up the leader and gradually increase the pace to the point where the drivers can get some heat back into the tyres, which they do by weaving about from side to side behind the safety car, heating up the tyres. Again, for non-racing, non-motorsport enthusiasts, when the tyres are warm you get more grip than you do when they're cold. The nature of the rubber changes and it becomes grippier.
Is that you in UFC that fight? They do like kicks to the shins all the time. So they both do the same kick at each other. They both stand back.
So there's Druids, Paddock Bed over there. And that's probably the last car in the train, if you like, making his way up this straight. So I think I'm going to walk down to Surtees corner, just the next one, where that car's just appeared, and wait for the full speed to be resumed. There's the leader number 2 with 78, right on his gearbox, right on his exhaust. So when the restart comes, the number 2 car, that was actually in the lead, has to judge it just right. If he misjudges his tyre temperature, he will either take the first corner too slow or too fast, depending on whether which way he's misjudged it, which gives the guy behind, assuming he doesn't also misjudge, gives the guy behind the opportunity to outbrake him into the corner if he can brake just a little bit later if the guy in front brakes earlier, and get into the corner first. Software in the car that acts as a speed limiter for these virtual safety car periods, so that they're all effectively doing the same, limited to the same top speed, so you can't take advantage and creep up on your rival in front of you. But that doesn't really make any sense if then when it goes to normal safety car you're allowed to bunch up again. I don't quite get the logic of that, but there we are. Redesigned rear end on that Mustang. So, as and when it goes back to racing, the first corner at racing speeds will be Paddock Hill Bend. So I'll try and get somewhere where we can see Paddock Hill Bend, and I think it will be down the bottom here, just tucked in the inside of Stirling. Is that them getting back up to speed, or is that just because they're accelerating up that hill? Okay, we can see Paddock. I'd quite like to be here for the first racing lap as well, because they should still be quite close together.
Now, whether that's at the end of this lap or another lap, I don't know.
The sun's come out.
Then we'll be able to get things back underway. And what does mean, of course, though, is that we've got GT3 cars and GT4 cars all mixed together.
Dying for a piss.
Alex Gusco.
You didn't want to know that, I know. Take a look at the back of this Mustang as it goes around. Actually, the front looks like it's been in the wars as well.
The GT4s could do exactly the same. Now, there might still be a bit of back marker lappery towards the end of the race, but technically it means that we have the possibility of quicker cars catching.
So, safety car, will he go in the pits this lap? No, he's going to do one more, at least. So I think I'll get a better view of Paddock if I'm up here. I'll see more of it. And then I can simply leap in my best leaping way down to Stirling, because he's going to be all over the back of him. So go on to Paddock. trailing a long way behind because he'd had a pit stop.
We are starting to build an idea as to which direction championships and titles might go for this year, but
He's now caught up to the back of the pack.
simply do not know. As we saw,
He's not allowed to overtake anybody, but he's made up the
in the
deficit.
silver and category, but on the very final lap, rings just exploded heading up towards McLean's corner, and all of a sudden Sam Deering was in the barriers, and it was not a win for them in silver. Company win yet again went the way of Sean Valve and Adam Small, the Atlantic agent. So yeah, you just don't know. That was literally 3/4 of the way around the final lap when that happened.
Safety car board still out.
Still on.
Oh, another lap. Sorry, I was just sending a message. My race officer mate.
This last week, slowly being released, there is a discounted price for buying them before Christmas. So the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. It is all still to play for. We've got 12 minutes on the clock remaining. So what are we going to squeeze out of this one? Probably 8 or 9 further laps in this one, and then we'll finally know.
Okay, here we go.
He's going to be our champion in GT3.
So safety car coming in. Here we go. So he's not close enough to do anything. Let's get down to Stirling and watch them come past here. Excuse the inelegant running.
Safely the GT3 cars, at least through Paddock Bend and Druids, and GT4's just heading round now. Remember the number 90 car.
To Clearways. So the pressure on the leading car, and look, he's pulled out a good lead already. But this is all about handling the mental pressure. One mistake and you throw that lead away. Sport, like high-level music making, is all in the mind. Anyone can do the physical actions. Only a very select few can have the mental skills and discipline required. It's not being silly, it's just keeping lead without risks. There's the Mustang. Has he fallen off the back? Okay, let's walk back. They've only got 2 or 3 laps. He's maintaining his lead. Safely through Paddock again. See, as I was saying earlier about the movers, this is not about suddenly putting your foot down, because if you could do that you would have done it before. What it's actually about is stealing a 1/10 of a second here and a 1/10 of a second there, and on a lap with 16 or 17 corners, if you steal a 1/10 faster than your rival on every corner, that's 1.5 seconds a lap, and that's what makes the difference. It's those tiny little 1/10s that you grab. Anyway, I'm nearly back in the van. Yeah, he's holding steady. But if you remember earlier in the race, he had 10, 15, 20 second lead. Something they often do is just dummy up the inside of a corner. You can put the driver in front of you off just by showing your nose in his mirrors and trying to fool him into thinking that you're going to be able to overtake him. The guy in 3rd place is now close enough to the guy in 2nd to be able to put that kind of pressure on him. So there's two battles to watch in the closing 3 or 4 laps of this race. I think the guy in 1st place has got it safe. The guy in 2nd has now pulled a bit ahead of the guy in 3rd, opened up a bit of a safe distance.
Silver amp categorisation. Down the pit lane for the drive-through penalty does come Martin Plowman. So ploughing down the pit lane at the wheel of Paddock Motorsport McLaren.
Yeah, nice and easy, nice and smooth. But the guy in 3rd seems able to close up a little along this bottom straight. And remember, these cars are not identical. So the little McLarens, for example, will be a bit more nimble in the corners than the big heavy Mercedes. But the big heavy Mercedes will outdrag the little McLaren on the straights.
I think he's just been picked on by that was in 17th position overall.
second and third again.
Third in Pro-Am, now that Tom Wrigley has gone through, because that's another Pro-Am car. And 20th overall.
There's first, second and third. And at the moment everybody seems to be holding it together, but then they would. They're professional drivers, or very good amateurs, depending on who's taken over for the second stint of the race.
Prepared Ginetta, that's the white and the black car. Try to
down to the mental discipline of not being tempted to bung one up the inside on some desperate last chance attempt to snatch the race. If it comes off, you're a hero. If it doesn't, you're a very, very big zero. The higher up you are, the more the zero you are. There, we're back at the van. I'm going to go up to Druids just for the last couple of laps of this race. There's only 4 minutes of it left. They're lapping about 1 minute 30 seconds, so they'll get 2 laps in and probably a third one will start. Good race, this one. Here come the leaders. Next time they come around, watch how much quicker out of this corner the number 2 car, which is in first place, is.
Number 90, Optimal Motorsport McLaren, really handed a fantastic opportunity when the safety car came out. I think the car, that car, came to pull that as we talked about over the rest of it. We need. So bouncing over the curbs goes Tom Gamble. The wheel of number 27 McLaren is right in the Pirelli wheel tracks of Ricky Collard's Lamborghini. He's not going to try anything as they head in towards Stirlings this time through, and we're shortly going to see our race leader head on to the last lap. Alex Book and Josh Cahill.
Right, watch him accelerate, watch.
Still played the overall GT3 title, but now by only 2 championship points from Alex Martin and Sandy Mitchell. That is how close it is. For Ricky Collard is nearly 1.8 seconds back is the next car, which is Tom Wood, and that car isn't scoring championship points, so Ricky Collard wishes the ball to drive at 95% on this lap, and they know those laps. and Sandy Mitchell there for second position, and that would also help their efforts as well. But up towards the final corner comes our race leader, and for Alex Buncombe and for Josh Cahill, they're about to head down towards Clearways corner, and for the team RJN McLaren, they are going to come up towards the final checkered flag of the 2024 championship season. It's a win for Alex Buncombe and Josh Cahill in the final round of the championship season. For number 19 McLaren, it's going to be our GT4 champion for this year, which is Jack Brown and Zach Reed.
If you've stuck with me for this entire walk around, thank you very much. I hope it's been either enjoyable, informative or both. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, it helps me. Thank you.